A few weeks ago in Indianapolis, we asked Caitlin Clark,
A basketball legend who understood better than almost anyone what it truly takes to transform the game, made a phone call that shifted the entire conversation. When Larry Bird reached out to Caitlin Clark, very few people could have predicted the magnitude of what that connection would represent. It was not simply a courtesy call between generations. It symbolized the meeting point of legacy and momentum, a bridge between Indiana's historic basketball dynasty and the WNBA's brightest emerging superstar. The moment carried weight far beyond publicity. It was bigger than endorsement speculation or headline buzz. It spoke directly to the future of women's basketball and to the growing recognition that elite female athletes deserve the same respect, visibility, and investment long afforded to their male counterparts. When a figure of Bird's stature publicly aligns himself with a rising women's basketball icon, it signals something deeper than support. It suggests belief in long-term transformation. Bird's connection to basketball in Indiana is almost unmatched. From his legendary collegiate career at Indiana State University to his Hall of Fame years with the Boston Celtics, and later his executive leadership with the Indiana Pacers, Bird has remained synonymous with excellence in the sport. His voice carries credibility because he has experienced every layer of professional basketball: player, champion, coach, and executive. During his NBA career, Bird captured 3 championships and earned 3 consecutive MVP awards from 1984 through 1986. His rivalry with Magic Johnson did more than define an era, it elevated the NBA's national and global popularity. Their competitive fire created a template for how athletes could transcend sport and become cultural figures. Bird was never merely a scorer. He was a symbol of discipline, confidence, and basketball intelligence. After retiring, Bird's influence did not fade. He transitioned into coaching and executive roles, guiding the Pacers as head coach from 1997 to 2000 and later serving as president of basketball operations. His continued involvement in Indiana basketball reflects not only professional commitment but personal loyalty to the state's storied hoops culture. In Indiana, basketball is more than a pastime. It is heritage, identity, and generational pride. That heritage now intersects with Clark's rise. Though separated by era, their playing philosophies share striking similarities: deep shooting range, elite court vision, fierce competitiveness, and a basketball IQ that elevates teammates. Both athletes built reputations for performing under pressure and captivating crowds. The parallels make the possibility of mentorship or collaboration feel natural rather than forced. Clark's commercial ascent has been equally impressive. Before even completing her transition into the WNBA, she secured endorsement relationships with major brands including Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson Sporting Goods. Her Nike agreement, signed in April 2024, reportedly includes performance incentives and long-term marketing opportunities, though exact figures remain undisclosed. Industry analysts estimate that elite women's basketball endorsements can range from hundreds of thousands to several $1 million annually, depending on market reach and cultural impact. Clark's commercial value expanded dramatically during her collegiate career at the University of Iowa and surged further after her WNBA debut with the Indiana Fever. Her games regularly attract audiences exceeding 1 million viewers, demonstrating a rare level of mainstream pull. Sponsors see more than scoring averages, they see connection. Clark blends on-court excellence with charisma, relatability, and digital engagement that resonates across demographics. Sports marketing experts note that Nike's recent strategic expansion in women's basketball aligns perfectly with Clark's rise. The company has increased its investment in women's footwear and apparel lines, recognizing the sport's expanding cultural and commercial potential. Partnerships are no longer limited to basic endorsement appearances. Modern agreements often include content creation, social media activation, collaborative design input, and potential signature product lines. Bird's long-standing association with Nike and his respected status within basketball circles could subtly influence how such partnerships evolve. While informal mentorships do not necessarily dictate business decisions, guidance from a Hall of Famer carries weight. For young athletes navigating early professional years, advice about branding, negotiations, and long-term positioning can shape career trajectories as significantly as performance metrics. The broader implication is unmistakable. When legends validate emerging stars, corporate perception shifts. Investments grow. Visibility expands. The collaboration between Bird and Clark, whether formal or advisory, reflects a new era in which women's basketball commands attention equal to its talent. It demonstrates that cultural influence and commercial power are no longer confined by outdated assumptions about gender in sport. This phone call was not simply personal encouragement. It represented acknowledgement that Clark stands at the center of a rapidly evolving marketplace. And when one of basketball's greatest champions recognizes that potential, the entire industry pays attention.
To your Indiana Fever teammates, that this is a special.
As women's basketball enters this new commercial era, the intersection of performance, branding, mentorship, and legacy becomes increasingly important. Modern endorsement ecosystems reward not only athletic skill but also cultural resonance, strategic networking, and long-term positioning. For a rising star like Caitlin Clark, access to experienced voices can prove invaluable in navigating these evolving dynamics. Throughout basketball history, informal mentorship networks have shaped careers in subtle yet powerful ways. Veteran players often provide guidance on contract negotiations, media relations, and personal brand management. These relationships frequently operate behind the scenes, but their influence can alter decision-making processes at critical moments. Larry Bird embodies this potential advisory presence. Having transitioned from superstar athlete to coach and executive, Bird understands how commercial perception intersects with competitive performance. His decades-long relationship with Nike further situates him within influential corporate circles. While business decisions remain complex and multifaceted, insights from someone with his experience can inform strategic thinking. Legal and marketing experts note that contemporary endorsement contracts often include intricate clauses addressing performance incentives, media appearances, community initiatives, and intellectual property rights. Athletes must balance immediate financial rewards with long-term brand equity. Decisions about product collaborations, signature lines, and exclusivity agreements can shape earning potential for years. Bird's executive tenure with the Indiana Pacers exposed him to salary cap management, player valuation, and organizational branding strategies. Such experience provides perspective beyond the athlete's viewpoint. For young professionals, understanding how teams and sponsors evaluate value can strengthen negotiation positions. The influence of mentorship also extends to reputation management. Public perception evolves rapidly in the digital age. Social media amplifies praise and criticism alike. Navigating that environment requires awareness and discipline. Guidance from seasoned figures who have weathered intense media scrutiny can help emerging stars maintain focus while maximizing opportunity. Another dimension involves community engagement. Indiana's basketball culture thrives on local connection. Clark's role with the Indiana Fever places her at the center of that tradition. Aligning national endorsement campaigns with meaningful regional outreach strengthens authenticity. Companies increasingly value athletes who can combine commercial reach with community impact. The financial architecture of women's basketball continues to mature. Sponsorship deals now integrate cross-platform storytelling, digital campaigns, and experiential marketing events. Athletes participate in design consultations, creative direction sessions, and collaborative launches. Such involvement fosters ownership and deeper brand alignment. Industry analysts believe that sustained success by stars like Clark may accelerate further corporate investment across the league. As endorsement benchmarks rise, competitive pressure encourages additional brands to pursue high-profile partnerships. This competition can elevate overall compensation standards, benefiting not only individual athletes but the broader professional ecosystem. At the same time, observers caution that growth must remain sustainable. Long-term stability depends on consistent audience engagement, responsible contract structuring, and careful brand positioning. Athletes who balance ambition with strategic patience are more likely to build enduring legacies. Clark's blend of competitive excellence, media presence, and cultural influence positions her well within this expanding framework. Her capacity to spark conversation beyond traditional sports audiences enhances her cross-industry appeal. Whether through potential signature footwear, multimedia campaigns, or community initiatives, her platform continues to broaden. The broader narrative ultimately transcends any single endorsement or advisory relationship. It represents the maturation of women's professional basketball into a commercially powerful enterprise. When legendary figures acknowledge emerging stars, when corporations commit meaningful investment, and when audiences respond with record-breaking viewership, the signal is clear: the market is evolving. Clark stands at the intersection of that evolution. Supported by heritage, amplified by digital reach, and strengthened by cultural momentum, her trajectory reflects the sport's expanding horizon. If the current path continues, future generations of female athletes may inherit an environment where commercial opportunity aligns naturally with competitive achievement. This moment is not merely about contracts or collaborations. It is about recognition that women's basketball possesses the talent, audience, and narrative depth necessary to command equal footing in the global sports marketplace. And as mentorship, marketing strategy, and performance continue to align, the industry may look back on this era as the turning point that permanently reshaped expectations.
WNBA, I hope you have a great first season.
Thanks. I'm sure we'll be a big
The rapid evolution of women's basketball marketing reflects a much larger cultural shift that extends beyond endorsement contracts and sponsorship headlines. It represents changing attitudes about gender equity, representation, and the true commercial value of elite female athletes. For years, many corporations underestimated the economic power of women's sports. Today, that perception is being challenged by measurable data, growing broadcast audiences, and the undeniable cultural presence of stars like Caitlin Clark. These broader changes have opened doors that were previously difficult to access. Increased corporate investment in female athletes has begun to establish new market benchmarks. Instead of symbolic partnerships meant to satisfy public relations goals, brands are now structuring serious, performance-based agreements that reflect real financial expectations. The success of high-profile endorsement campaigns tied to women's sports is forcing decision-makers to re-evaluate long-standing assumptions about audience size and purchasing power. Progressive corporations increasingly recognize that aligning with elite female athletes accomplishes multiple objectives simultaneously. It allows them to tap into growing, passionate fan bases while also signaling commitment to inclusivity and gender equality. Consumers are paying attention to which companies invest authentically in women's sports. Partnerships are no longer viewed as secondary marketing efforts, they are strategic growth opportunities. Clark's visibility exemplifies this transformation. Her rise coincides with a moment in which cultural conversations around fairness in compensation and recognition have intensified. When her games draw more than 1 million viewers, the numbers offer concrete evidence that audience demand exists. Such metrics empower athletes in negotiations and encourage brands to offer more competitive terms. Industry analysts observe that endorsement valuations increasingly incorporate cultural influence alongside traditional performance metrics. Television ratings, social media engagement, merchandise sales, and media coverage all contribute to determining an athlete's market worth. Clark's profile checks multiple boxes. Her performances generate highlights, her interviews trend online, and her presence sparks national debate. That layered visibility enhances her bargaining power. The ripple effects extend to younger athletes. When aspiring players witness peers securing substantial endorsement deals, it reshapes their perception of professional possibility. Financial success becomes attainable through a combination of athletic excellence and strategic brand development. This awareness motivates emerging players to cultivate media skills, social engagement, and business literacy earlier in their careers. Experts also point out that endorsement growth may accelerate broader compensation discussions within professional leagues. While WNBA salaries have improved, endorsement revenue often constitutes the largest portion of elite players' income. As sponsorship deals grow more lucrative, they demonstrate to league executives and sponsors alike that women's basketball has untapped commercial capacity. The success of these partnerships may also encourage additional media investment. Broadcast networks closely monitor ratings spikes tied to individual athletes. Sustained high viewership justifies prime scheduling, expanded coverage, and increased advertising budgets. Each of these factors reinforces a positive cycle of visibility and revenue. The involvement of legendary figures adds symbolic weight to this progression. When someone like Larry Bird publicly supports Clark's trajectory, it bridges generational gaps within basketball culture. It suggests continuity rather than separation between men's and women's professional narratives. Such validation can influence corporate executives who respect Bird's judgment and historical significance. The ongoing evolution of endorsement structures also reflects greater sophistication in contract design. Agreements now frequently include tiered bonuses tied to playoff appearances, statistical achievements, and digital engagement benchmarks. Social media campaigns, documentary features, and collaborative design initiatives expand partnerships beyond simple logo placement. These complex arrangements allow athletes to build diversified income streams while maintaining creative influence. Observers question whether this momentum will eventually produce near parity between male and female endorsement markets. While significant gaps remain, the trajectory points toward continued expansion. Each successful deal sets a precedent. Each record-breaking broadcast strengthens negotiating leverage for the next athlete. Clark's role within this shift is particularly significant because of timing. She entered the league during a period of accelerating cultural change. Increased youth participation in girls' basketball, broader streaming access, and shifting consumer values have combined to create fertile ground for commercial growth. Her success is both a product of and a catalyst for these developments. Ultimately, the financial rise of women's basketball endorsements signals recognition long overdue. It affirms that excellence on the court can translate directly into business opportunity off it. As corporate confidence grows, the ecosystem surrounding women's sports becomes more robust, sustainable, and competitive. The transformation is still unfolding. Yet the evidence already suggests that the market no longer views female athletes as niche investments. They are central players in an expanding industry. And as Clark continues to perform, engage audiences, and attract major partnerships, she strengthens the foundation upon which future generations will build even greater commercial success.